if someone said, hey, would you rather have Vladimir Putin come run the country or continue to let Joe, or whoever really is, I'd rather have Vladimir Putin. I wouldn't necessarily bash Russia.
Oh, I'm not bashing Russia. I'm just curious if
you said go ahead and see what they do. I'm not bashing Russia. Why? I don't know enough about Russia, dude. It's all probably propaganda and bullshit. Every time I see or hear what Vladimir Putin is talking about, I'm getting it through translation. So I'm just hoping is what they're saying.
I see what you're saying.
But the shit he's saying, I'm like, I like that. Just like Kristi Noem. She vetoed it amongst massive pressure not to. I like that. Why? Because she's doing the right thing, man. And from what I see, Putin does the right thing. Now, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I'm not over there.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, if someone said, hey, would you rather have Vladimir Putin come run the country or continue to let Joe, or whoever really is, I'd rather have Vladimir Putin. Would you?
Viral. There we go. That's it. That's the one.
Now, again, I might be hated and canceled, but hey, if anyone uses the context, I didn't say anything wrong. It's just my opinion.
I think Vladimir Putin is doing best what Vladimir Putin thinks is the best thing for Russia. I agree with
Russia.
That.
I think he loves his country.
Yes,
I think he's protecting his people. Now, has he murdered and all this shit that they say? Have we?
Yeah, of course we have.
Exactly.
We actually murdered Russians and helped the Mujahideen do it in 1983 in Afghanistan.
Didn't we just blow up their fucking oil line or something?
As a U.S. military member, it's called Nord Stream 2.
The Nord Stream.
As a U.S. military member, my position on this is I don't give a fuck if we did. Makes no difference to me whatsoever. We have absolutely no necessity whatsoever to protect Russia from anything
Agreed.
whatsoever.
And by the way, just for the record, everybody, if someone said, pick a country, Brad, I'm picking fucking America, even with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But if someone said, Brad, you can have America, but ran with a more fucking, powerful person, I'd take that.
I was referring more to the Russia-Ukraine thing, that whole situation.
I don't understand what's going on there.
Yeah.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, I studied
Based on what? You been there?
No, just so I look at reports from Russia. Russia has some outward stuff that they put out, and then reports from U.S. intelligence, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, obviously,
what's going on there?
Russia invades. They expect to take over the country in about 10 days. They're not able to because the Ukrainians knew the Russians were going to invade. They have much less materiel in humans, but they're much more prepared than the Russians are. The Russians come in, they think they're going to swarm Kiev. It doesn't work. So they take probably 15% of the country in Donbass, and they build a land bridge from Donbass all the way down to Crimea that they've already taken. And in doing so, now they're trying to do another offensive to take over the rest of the country, but it's just not working out because the European Union, specifically the United States, is sending over aid. The problem is the reason why I believe Russia had to invade when they did was because 200 F-35 Lightnings are being sold by the United States to NATO members. So I believe Germany by itself is getting 50. These are stealth aircraft. Once we get to the point where the European Union has stealth aircraft, now Russia literally doesn't have, they aren't even that means Finland can defeat Russia at that point. Russia doesn't have any stealth aircraft. They have a Sukhoi 57 that has I was reading, the Sukhoi 57 has a radar cross-section 50,000 times bigger than the F-22. So it's not really stealth. The Chinese don't really have any stealth aircraft. So there's an asymmetry of materiel. And because of that, I think Russia felt like they have to invade at this point. And if they don't, they're not going to have a chance to get the Ukraine. If Ukraine became part of NATO, then that's a serious problem for Russia because now there's these pipelines that go through Ukraine. They can no longer sell their petroleum to Germany through that way. And so that's why whoever blew up Nord Stream 2 blew it up. So now that there's no way for Germany to do it. That's what I think is going on. I'm not making a moral judgment. I'm just saying they made a mistake. They thought they were going to take over the country in 10 days. Like we took over Baghdad in 21 days. They thought they were going to take over Kiev in 10 days. It didn't happen. And now we're 18 months later. There's no way you can tell me Vladimir Putin intended for a 1.5 year war. And then what happened was his private
army... He's also not using his might.
Well, his private army, Wagner, just turned on him on Saturday. They started driving north towards Moscow. Then they came... Putin went on television, stated that he was going to try the leader of Wagner for treason. Then they came to a negotiating ploy. He said, okay, we're going to fight in favor of Russia. And then he stationed them in Belarus. Basically, his regular army and his defense minister hate each other. I'm sorry, his paid army, Wagner, and his defense minister, they fucking hate each other. And so he has to keep them in two different platforms. So I think what they're going to do is use the regular army in Donbass, and they're going to use Wagner to invade from Belarus into Kiev. I think that's what's probably going to happen. I'm more interested in what's going to happen. I'm more interested in the chessboard. I'm not trying to make a moral judgment here. I'm just saying,
I think we should butt out.
well, here's the thing. While I understand the point, it's cheaper for us to do this than it was for us to prosecute a war in Afghanistan and Iraq, number one. Number two, we're giving Russia a black eye without using any American troops. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just telling you what U.S. foreign policy would be. And number three, it's a 12-hour drive from Kiev to Berlin. And if you think that if Donald Trump were president and Russia had invaded Ukraine, that Donald Trump wasn't going to send any aid to Ukraine, you're being naive. Donald Trump was going to send aid to Ukraine if this happened under his administration. Now, would it have been 130 billion? I don't know. Would he have given 35 M1 Abrams tanks to the Ukrainians? I don't know. Would he
Where
have
do
given
you get all this information?
Huh? The U.S. State Department puts it out. They're given 35. They actually.
U.S. State Department.
Well, the Ukrainians are like there's actual tanks. You can see the tanks.
The U.S. State Department puts it out.
Why would the U.S. State Department lie about giving tanks to the Ukrainians?
I don't know.
No, but why would it lie about giving tanks to the
I don't
Ukrainians?
know. Why would they?
Okay, so we can just...
Dude, why does the government have a $6 billion fucking accounting error? Where'd $6 billion go?
I don't know. I don't know where $6 billion.
Wow, weird. But,
Okay,
but they said it didn't go anywhere. So
Then
good.
they gave it to Ukraine. I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you.
You trust the government way too much.
No, I don't trust... It's not that I'm trusting the government. It's that
You said it. You get it from the State Department.
No, but
that
I
don't
also
make it true.
But I also get it from Russia. Like for instance, Russia was the one who stated that there was a coup.
So you get the State Department's information, then you get Russia's version of the State Department, and you sit there and study it?
Negative. So you would look at what the State Department says. You would look at what Russia actually says. Their state-run media would say. Then there's independent journalists, like for instance, Alex Holling, who's a former U.S. Marine Corps captain, and he actually has his own. He's a journalist, and he studies air power. Then there's other journalists that study different things, but they don't work for Fox News. They don't work for CNN. And then you look at Fox News and CNN too, if you want. But you would look at all these preponderance of things and say the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. The truth is generally somewhere between what the U.S. government says and what the Russian government says. It's somewhere in the middle. That's what I'm saying.